Some houses carry memories, and some refuse to let go of their past. This is a true story of a family that moved into a house where shadows whispered, and something unseen was always watching. The Thompsons, David, Emily, and their 9-year-old daughter Lily, thought they had found their dream home in rural Pennsylvania, a historic house, spacious and full of charm. But some homes don't want to be lived in, and from the very first night, the family sensed something was off. The house had been vacant for years, the previous owners mysteriously disappearing overnight. Lily complained about voices whispering in the walls at night. Her parents dismissed it as an overactive imagination, but then they heard it too. The first night, Lily woke to the sound of whispering. At first, she thought it was her parents talking in the hallway, but the voices were inside her room. Soft, unintelligible whispers filled the air, growing louder. Lily's eyes widened in fear as she pulled the covers over her head. "Mum! Dad!" She trembled. The whispering suddenly stopped. Complete silence. Then a loud creak from the rocking chair in the corner. Lily saw the chair moving on its own. She screamed. The camera cut to black. Emily couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The air in the house felt heavy, suffocating. Then out of the corner of her eye she saw it. A shadow moved quickly across the room behind her. She turned, but no one was there. She brushed it off as her imagination until she heard a voice.
Whispering, distorted. "He's still here." Emily gasped and spun around, but nothing was there. The shot lingered on the empty hallway.
That night, Lily was asleep in her bed. The door creaked open slowly. Lily woke up to a presence in her room. A tall, dark figure stood in the doorway, its face obscured in shadow. Lily was frozen. The figure slowly stepped forward. The closer it got, the colder the room became. Suddenly, a grotesque, unnatural grin stretched across its face. The lights flickered violently. Lily let out a blood-curdling scream. Her parents rushed in, but the figure was gone. Only the rocking chair was moving, back and forth, back and forth. David and Emily didn't waste another second. They packed up their belongings overnight, desperate to leave the house behind. By morning, the Thompsons were gone. They never looked back. But Lily saw something as they drove away. As the car pulled out of the driveway, Lily stared at the house. In the upstairs window, a dark figure stood, watching them, slowly raising a hand in a wave. The camera zoomed into the figure's twisted grin before cutting to black. Gap 3S. The Thompsons couldn't shake the terror they had experienced. Determined to find answers, David and Emily began researching the house's history. They discovered old newspaper articles and police reports revealing a chilling pattern. Gap 2S. In the early 1900s, the land was owned by a reclusive family known for their strange rituals. One article spoke of a young girl who went missing, her last known location being the very house they had fled. Gap 2S. David managed to track down a local historian who had spent years investigating the property. The historian shared stories of spectral sightings and unexplained phenomena that plagued the house for decades. Gap 2S. The most disturbing revelation came when the historian mentioned Charles Whitmore, the man accused of horrific crimes in 1976. He was rumoured to have been involved in dark practices, possibly cursing the house with his malevolent spirit. Gap 2S. Emily shuddered, realising the figure Lily saw in the window was likely Whitmore himself, trapped between worlds, forever haunting the place he once called home. Gap 3S. With this newfound knowledge, the Thompsons felt a mix of fear and relief. They were not alone in their experiences, but the house's dark past was more terrifying than they had ever imagined. Gap 3S, the camera cuts to a dusty old newspaper clipping with the headline, "Whitmore House, a History of Horror." The scene fades to black as the suspenseful music intensifies, setting the stage for the call to action. Weeks later, they learned the truth. The house had a history of disappearances. In 1976, a man named Charles Whitmore lived there, accused of horrific crimes. But before the police could arrest him, he disappeared. Some say he never left.